Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. We are from the groups O and we are going to discuss about Karl Marx. So basically our group members are Nabil Isam, Nazatul Ena, Elberchin Yiren, Muhammad Hifzan Hakimin and me myself Muhammad Faisal. Without further ado, we will start with our introductions.
Karl Heinrich Marx was a German philosopher, critic of political economy, economist, historian, sociologist, political theorist, journalist, and socialist revolutionary. His best-known titles are the 1848 pamphlet, the Communist Manifesto, and the three-volume Das Kapital, 1867 until 1883. There are two theories of Karl Marx, which is capitalism and communism. My friends will elaborate each of the theory.
Capitalism refers to a social and economic system where non-labor and capital factor of production are controlled privately. Capital labor and goods are sold in market. The owners take the profit or invest the profit in new industry while the wage are paid to the labor. According to Marx's view, a change in the capital will make the working class miserable, and through this, social conditions for revolution will be created. When the means of production and distribution are privately owned, the dependency of the non-owning class is built on the ruling class, and this results in the restriction of human freedom. Various lines of argument have been offered by Marx, while claims that capitalism is a system of contradiction followed by repeated crises that tend to increase severity. He argued that the tendency of system unraveling in combination with the process of socialization that connects workers in revolution. Capitalism is viewed as one of the steps that link to the evolution of system of the economy. The Marxian theory support the overthrowing of the revolution of capitalism that will result in socialism. Marx has control of the workforce and the social democrats, as well as other several neutral social democrats who look for a change in the free channel, existing rather than a revolution. Marx believed that there is no need to abolish capitalism and instead it should be regulated. Socialism has taken a variety of forms, although it has in the past been associated with Karl Marx.
So let's get into an understanding view of how capitalism still exists in the modern world. In a capitalist nation, the free market serves as the primary economic system. Corporations and private firms compete for market share and establish prices and output. The government's role is restricted in terms of private property, economic progress, and freedom of choice. Political conservatives tend to embrace capitalism, while socialists and anarchists are more inclined to reject it. In a mixed economy, the government controls part but not all of the means of production, yet the government's interests may lawfully override, replace, restrict, or otherwise regulate those of private economic interests. Property rights are respected in a mixed economy, but they are limited. In contrast, under pure capitalism, commonly referred to as laissez-faire capitalism or anarcho-capitalism as advocated by Murray and Rothbard, all industries, including public assets, are left to private ownership and operation, and no central government authority regulates or supervises economic activity in general. Laissez-faire capitalism and total control of the economy, such as communism, are the extremes of the typical economic spectrum. In the center of the spectrum, there is a mixed economy. Both central planning and private enterprise are present in a mixed economy. According to this definition, practically every nation in the world has a mixed economy. However, the extent of government participation in modern mixed economies vary. In the United States and the United Kingdom have relatively pure form of capitalism, with minimum federal regulation in financial and labor markets. This form of capitalism is sometimes referred to as Anglo-Saxon capitalism. This kind of social welfare capitalism is prevalent in many European countries, and it incorporates programs such as universal healthcare and collective bargaining as well as safety rules for the workplace. Capitalism affects your life differently depending on whether you are an employee or a manager. Capitalism could make it logical for someone who runs a business and employs others. The more money a firm makes, the more resources it has to share with its employees, theoretically raising everyone's quality of life. Everything is founded on the law of supply and demand, and in capitalist economy, consumption reigns supreme. A fundamental criticism of capitalism is that it exacerbates social and economic inequity, since many capitalist employers aren't very good at distributing the money they have amassed over the years.
Communism is an ideology that proposes for a classless society in which all property and wealth are collectively, instead of by individuals. The communist ideology was founded by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, and which is the counterpart of capitalist one. Both communism and socialism stem from a desire to reduce or remove the influence of the upper and lower strata of society. In a nutshell, Marxists held that workers were exploited by those who owned the means of production. So if you work in a factory or a farm, as many as the time did, whoever owns the factory or farm is getting more out of the worker that they're putting in. As a result, Marx referred to the owners as bourgeois and the workers as proletariat. If society is to address this issue of inequality, it must move away from the capitalist mindset and toward one in which all workers jointly control the means of production. Basically, socialism in Marx's forerunner to communism and the next phase after capitalism. Instead of allowing private corporations to own the means of production, socialism relies on democratic state to do so. A key feature of it is instead of competing with one another as they do in capitalist society, employees put in their best effort for the common benefit, which they subsequently partake equally in. Socialism is the first step towards communism, where it is a system in which the state owns and controls everything, including private property. By eliminating private property after that, the purpose of abolishing it is to create a society where everyone works together toward the common goal of a healthy and free society.
This might come as a surprise. None of the communist countries in the 20th century got anywhere close to communism. They were all stuck in the dictatorship of the proletariat stage, although a number of countries have described themselves as a communist. For example, China and North Korea. By definition, there has never been a true communist country. Every so-called communist country is actually a socialist country, with the state controlling employment and economy to some degree. Even though widely referred to communist, Russia was actually called the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. However, some of the tribes in the Papua New Guinea could be classified as communist, as they are self-sustainable and everything is communal. Variations of this idea are also already popular within capitalist societies in the form of universal healthcare or social services like fire departments and schools funded by taxes. The example of the communist structure and activities nowadays are: in Cuba, the hospitals, medical professionals, medicines, and medical supplies are all under the control of the Cuban government. In North Korea, the farmland, workers, and food distributions are all under the control of the North Korean government. In China today, the government controls a highly successful manufacturing industry which generates profit for the government through the export of electronics, toys, and other consumer goods. In Russia, and Bolsheviks pull all the productive properties such as factories, mines, railroads under government control. In short, socialism and communism are not altogether different. Rather, most schools of economics consider socialism to be precursor to communism once the state has enough control over society and economy. Alright, that's all from us. Thank you.